Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, welcome to Bellacroft's Live.
Yes.
I am back.
Lisa is back. Everybody say, welcome back, Lisa. It has been too long.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was going to put hi, everybody. I put hi, Lisa.
I love that. I love that. Ann and I were chatting a little bit before we came on. That's why we're a little bit late. And
oh, thanks, Kelly.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Yeah, so I am back. Goofy as ever. It's been I wanted to do a complete reset on just this whole year. The whole 2025 is just not my year, and I'm just over all of it. But since we have another 6 months to go, I can't.
They're going to be fantastic 6 months.
I am praying from your mouth to God's ears that it does, because these first 6 months have not been fun for me.
I am a girl half full.
I am too. So I am too most of the time.
Positive and think
like 99% of the time. But this, what I've been through. It's been a lot, and I'm just like over it. But looky,
hey, Helen.
There it is. It's closed.
Which is amazing, because usually when she is cut open, it does not heal properly, and they stay open.
It takes forever. Well, this is good because it was just a little, it wasn't a big, huge incision like I normally get. But yeah, it went fine until it got infected. And so we deal with that. So hello, everybody.
Hey, Isabel. Hey, Rebecca.
I'm glad that you guys are all here today. I'm going to be sharing some really fun toner papers from Ann's lines, because I absolutely love the toner papers. So I have such a good time.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, I know, right? We do a lot of foiling, but that's okay because we love foiling. I mean, it is the thing to do. Okay, so this is what I'm going to show you guys how to make today.
I'm going to. Isn't that gorgeous? It is so dang cute.
This is a hat box card, right? So when you flip it up, it's a little pull up, and it'll say happy birthday or whatever you want to put on the inside of it there. But it's one of the most simple pull up cards I have ever done in my life.
Yes, purple, Rebecca. I know, our favorite.
I did it for her. I did it for her because I wanted to, say hey, because she has been both of us for a long time. So so I thought, okay, I gotta do something to tell Ann hey. So yeah, this is what we're doing today. We're going to be doing it with some foiling and Ann's papers, and I'm excited. And yeah, so you want to get started?
Yes.
Do we have any announcements to make?
Okay, so this afternoon I am doing part 2 of the accordion book. I am showing the insides and all the things you can do, because you can do anything. I mean, you can do anything. And Lisa is not going to be there, so it's just going to be me. So I will try and catch all comments. But yeah, that's the only real announcement.
Okay, yeah, we're going to be heading out to the mountains as soon as I'm done. Yay! I need some time out of this house.
But make sure you like, comment, and share with the hashtag Bellacrafts to enter this week's giveaway.
That's right. All right, so let me switch my cameras, and I shall turn on my little machine here, and we will get started. There is my thingy. There it is. Oh, boy. All right, you guys, let's do this.
There we go.
There we go. All right. Okay. So let me move this out of the way for just a second. I'm going to turn it on so we can get it heated while I'm showing you the other stuff. There we go. Okay. So once again, this is what we're making today. Here, let me bring this down just a smidge. because it looks a little bit too high for me. Maybe. I don't know. It has been such a time since I've done anything that I have forgot how to do everything. It's just been horrible. Okay, so that's a little bit better. All right. So this is it. This is done with foils. I can't remember if I have ever showed you guys this card or not. It is one of my favorites for two reasons. One, because it's very simple to do for an interactive, because, interactives usually have a lot of components and all that. This does not. But also, it's just so cute.
I have never seen it, so you haven't showed it.
Okay. See, I thought I couldn't remember if I did or not. So I thought, well, I'm going to do it. And if it's a repeat, well, then sorry. But here, and then again, like I said, then you just pull this open and then you'll get your happy birthday or, whatever you decide to put in the center there.
I love it.
So I'm going to put that over to the side for now. And I want to turn on my glue gun. I have all these machines I got to turn on today. All right, so let me show you, first of all, the products that I used. Okay, so these are the toner paper packs that Anne has designed herself, and she has on her website. And I used three different patterns? Yes, I used 3 different papers. So I wanted to show you each one that I used. Okay, so the first one, I used this lace here. And this one is black and white, beautiful florals. Okay, so I used that one in there. And then for another one, I used this really pretty flower. I've used this one before. I absolutely love this one. It's so pretty. This is called black and white florals. Okay, and then the last thing that I used was a plain black toner sheet, and I'm going to show you how to double foil today. Okay, so that'll be fun. Those of you that have joined us, you guys should all be pros at this by now, because Anne shared it a million times, and it's so fun to do. So those are the papers that I used. And then, of course, she also has a sentiment pack. This has got 61 different sentiments in it. You can see them all on the back. All of
that's actually sold out. Sorry.
Is it? Okay. Oh, bummer. All right. But it is very, very cool. So I'm loving that. All right. And then last, I used some fancy foils from Therm O Web. This is from the Gina K line. And this one is Amazing Amethyst. So it's very, very beautiful purple. Oh my gosh. You guys can see. I know my light's like really, but yeah, it's gorgeous. All right. So that's what I used. And then, of course, I did a pattern. I have a pattern. So I want to tell you a little something about the pattern first. Okay. Because what I'm going to do is I need to adjust it. So once I do that, I'll put a link in the comment section on this video. So you guys will have a link to the pattern. Okay.
You'll also put it in your blog post, right?
Yes. It will be in my blog post also. Basically, the only changes that I really made to it was I changed this line here. This is for the insert where the happy birthday is. And I changed the score line and put it up. So it's like 1.5 inches from the top of this to this. But you'll have all of the right measurements and all of that stuff. So, when you get the pattern for this. Okay. All right. I just did not get a chance to do it ahead of time. I wish I would have, but I didn't. So now we're going to pull out all of this fun stuff so we can get started. Now, some of it I have already done. Okay, because I'm going to show you those elements now. This is the one that we're going to foil. Here, let me put my mouse up there. Okay. So as you'll see, I'm going to show you how to do this particular pattern because this is double foiled. Okay. And then I use the lacy part for the front piece. And this is for the front of the lid. And then I'm going to use another piece for the inside of the lid. Okay. So these have already been done and cut out because you didn't want to sit and watch me, struggle with scissors. And this is just plain old purple cardstock, or lavender cardstock, I should say. And this is the centerpiece. So I'm going to show you how to do that also. Okay, so to get started, and then of course I've got my sentiments. Now I wanted to show you how I do smaller pieces when I'm foiling. Okay, so I'm using the machine from Gina K. This is her fused foiling system. This is an actually really beautiful machine, and it works really, really well. I really enjoy playing with it because it works great, you guys. Okay, so I have mine set on setting 4. It's got 5 different settings on it. I keep mine on 4 when I'm foiling, only because it gives it a good impression and I don't have to run it through a second time because it'll come out with clear image the first time I put it in. Okay, but for sentiments, these are little. So you have to, how I did this. Let me pull all of this stuff out. Okay, with the Gina K machine comes what we call the carrier sheet. Okay, that's what this is. If you have just a regular laminator at home, that will work fine. No problems. And you can use either copy paper for your carrier sheet, or you can use parchment paper. Ann and I have both used both. So either way is perfect. Okay. So for these smaller pieces though, because what you want to do is you want to take your toner paper, whatever it is, and this one is for the sentiments, and you want to put it on your foil, right? Well, it can get a little hard when you're working with something small, and this foil is very thin, so it kind of slides all over. So I found that if I just take it and I put down the pieces that I'm foiling, let me make sure I have enough room on here because I might need to get my bigger piece. Okay. And where is it? There it is. Okay, so we're going to do a bigger piece. So I thought that smaller piece would work perfect, but it is a little too small. So again, this is just the purple foil. Okay, and then you're going to lay your pieces down, and you're going to put them on the back side of the foil. I say this every single time that I foil. The major mistake that everyone makes the very first time they're foiling is they want to put the shiny side on the toner papers. You do not want to do that. Okay. The shiny side, the beautiful colors and patterns should always be facing you when you're doing your foiling. Okay. So what I do for this, because like I said, it does kind of slip around a little bit. So I just take a little piece of washi tape and then just plop that in there. And then that's going to hold both of them. And then I'm going to lay them in my carrier sheet. You see, pretty side up. Pretty side always goes up. And then we're going to run it through. There we go. And then what it's going to do is it's going to keep that foil onto the toner paper. And then as the machine, when you're putting it through, you put it through the front end of your machine. And you also want to make sure that you put the folded end of your carrier sheet in first, because that will save you from getting jams, because sometimes if you do it the opposite, you can get jam ups, and you don't want that. All right. So then what it's going to do is it's going to come out the back side here. There we go. All right. And for right now, I am just going to leave this over here. And then we're going to foil this piece. Okay, so again, I'm going to lay my purple foil right on top of there. I love this pattern. This is another one of my favorites that Anne has in her papers. And let's see, we're going to put that in again. Paper side up, or pretty side, I should say. Pretty side up, and then you're going to put that in and then run it through. Okay, so while that's cooking, let me move that back for just a smidge. Let's just go ahead and take these off. Ooh, yeah. Oh, I love how this works. Okay, so now you have these really pretty sentiments and you have them in such pretty color. I love that. And then this is the wishes one. Isn't that pretty? Love it. But that's how you can do your smaller pieces when you're working with toner papers, okay? All right, so we've got this one. I'm going to pull this back out. Okay, and it is hot. When it comes out of the machine, it's hot. So make sure that you just, are cautious and you don't burn yourself. But we are crafters and we have a habit of doing that anyways. Okay, so this, isn't that pretty? It's so hard to, it drives me crazy, Anne, because you can never see how pretty it is on camera.
I know.
But man, is it beautiful.
You can at certain angles when you just get it there. But yeah, I know.
Yeah, you just, I've tried, I don't know how many times. But
if you like sparkle, you will love foiling.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because it really pops. All right, so I'm going to set this piece aside because when I'm double foiling here, I'm going to be using this piece again.
Plus, foiling takes your card to the next level.
It does.
Yeah.
It totally does, right? And it saves on not having glitter everywhere when you're playing with glitter. You want to make something glittery and you got glitter everywhere. This is the perfect choice to use if you don't want glitter all over your studio or your dog. My dogs always have glitter on them.
Well, okay. I still use glitter.
I know. Well, me too. Okay, so for this, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take, this is the sheet that I just ran through, and you can see it still has all of that foil on there. So I don't want to throw that away, right? Because that would just, Anne would kill me for one, but, it's just way too pretty. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take one of her black toner papers and lay this right on top there. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to put it in the carrier sheet and run it again. And this is what you call double foiling. This is actually a trick that Anne taught me. I did not know how to do this. Whoops. Let me get this in there right. There we go. And it's so much fun because when you'll see when I do the reveal, you'll see what it looks like. Okay, so for this piece, while that one's cooking, this is the other part of the top piece, okay? So I'm going to take my pattern here, and I'm going to just trace this out. Whoops. All right. And then, that one's done. Okay. So then after I get it traced out, then I'm going to cut it out. But right now, let's get back to this one. So you can see, I love this so much. All right. So again, this is really hot. So be careful. All right. So we're going to turn this off because we don't need this right now. And I'm going to set it down here. There we go. All right. Now we're going to look at that foil. Oh, okay. So now what we're doing is we're going to peel this back again. And look at that beautiful. You've got the design now. You've used all of the, excuse me, the foil. There's nothing left except for this little sliver over here because it's was a little bit bigger than the actual paper. But yeah, and then you have this other piece. And this is going to be the back piece of your card. But isn't that beautiful with that purple? It just pops. I love it. All right, so we're going to throw this away. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this lid out really quick. And then I'm going to show you how to put this all together. All right, so we're going to cut this piece out. And again, Ann and I both do this. She does it a little bit more than I do, but we save our pieces. So you can see by me cutting this out, I am still going to have this whole other piece here that I could use for something else. I could use it to back a sentiment, or I could use it to do a border, you know, so you want to save your pieces. And it's, you know, if you save it, then it doesn't cost you as much with having to replace your foils and, you know, your papers and whatnot. So that's what we do. All right, so I'm going to cut this lid out. Excuse me. And then this is going to be the inside portion of the lid. I had originally put this pattern on the outside, and then when I did the florals, I changed my mind. Which we're allowed to do, right, guys? We can change our mind whenever we want. All right, so there we've got the other side of our top piece. Now, as I showed you earlier, I went ahead and cut these pieces out ahead of time. This is I've already cut this one out, and this is from this piece that I just showed you how to foil. Okay, so yeah, so pretty. So I'm going to save this for another project because I know that I'll find something to use it in. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put this all together. And first, I need to adhere these both together. So we're going to do some tape on these. Now, when I did my card originally, I did it with some thicker cardstock. Because what I did, I was worried because it was an interactive card. I was worried about the weight of it being too light and not, you know, giving it the stability that it needs. So what I did when I made mine was I took my toner papers that I had already done. I already had foiled them, and I adhered them to a piece of heavy cardstock. This is like a 110 that I used. And I just adhered them both together, and then I put the pattern on and cut them out. I thought, you know, I might be able to just have to skip that step. So that's what we're going to try today. We're just going to do it without that, you know, that extra heaviness, because it does make it, you know, it makes it a little bit harder to move. But we're going to see what happens and pray that I don't mess it up. All right, so we've got to put these together. And of course, I am using my tape runner from AdTech. So I got to make sure that I do not make any changes, because this puppy is not coming off once you put it down on paper. It just, this tape is amazing. And you guys know me, I don't like tape. All right, so there we've got the top, and we're all done with that. Now, because this is a hand-drawn, you know, pattern and all, and, you know, I can't cut a straight line with the ruler. So if you go to cut it out, you know, you might need to make some little minor adjustments if your lid, you know, if it doesn't quite, you know, match up or whatever. Just trim it down, you guys. It's really not a big deal. Okay, so for this, what I did here then is I took my Gina K ink pad. This one is the Wild Lilac. And don't forget, too, guys, that I'm going to be doing a blog post on this, and it'll be up on Sunday. So it'll have all the stuff that I'm using. Okay, so for this, I just want to add a little bit of color around my edges. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. Just something that, it's just going to give it just a little bit more color. The other thing that you can do that I have done with this pattern many times in the past when I've used it is I've watercolored the flowers. So that's another thing that you can do to add color to it. And then once you add, like watercolors, then it makes that foil really pop. But for this one, I decided we're just not going to do any coloring. I'm still trying to give my hands, a little bit more time. So that's why I didn't stamp anything this time too. But yeah, we just want to add some color. And also, if you're wondering, I'm using the blender brush. This is from Pink and Maine. If you guys haven't seen this before, these are awesome. They come with these little housing units. And when you're done, you snap them in and they stay that way. So your brushes don't ever get messed up from being thrown in a drawer, right? So I love, love, love these brushes. All right, so I'm going to flip this over and then I'm going to do this backside real quick. Okay, just add some color around those edges there. And it just kind of gives it just a little bit more depth. It lets your eyes go to different places when you're seeing it instead of just seeing the foils, which that alone is just gorgeous, of course. But, if you want to add a little extra oomph to it. All right. So there we go. All right. So that's our top. I'm going to set that to the side for a minute because I also did the inside of my inside, or the top of my inside, I should say. So around here, again, I'm just going to add a little bit of color. And it just makes everything so pretty. You don't really have to pay a whole lot of attention to the bottom piece of this because you're not going to see it anyways. But, because I am how I am and everything has to be finished, I go ahead and do it anyways. But you really don't have to, is what I'm saying. All right. So add a little bit there to the top. There we go. Perfect. House. There it is. Okay, see, and then you're going to take that and snap that right in there. Okay, and then we're going to put this away. Okay. Oh, wait, I wanted to do a little bit of color around this first. Around my little sentiment here. Here we go. Okay. Just going to add a little bit of color. Again. Just to make it a little bit prettier. And, the day isn't a good day if you don't have ink on your hands. So that's what I like to say. So whenever you can get ink on your hands, it's going to be a good day. All right. There we go. Okay, now we can put this up. Okay. There we go. All right. Now, let me grab a clean piece of paper here. There we go. Okay. Now, where is my scoring tool? Oh, darn it. I don't know what to do with it. All right. That's okay. All right. So this is for your inside piece. And I've got all these foil pieces everywhere. And I grabbed every pattern piece except for the one I needed. Okay, so this I want to just put on here so I can judge where I need to score it from. Okay, so I'm going to know, because this, come on. Okay, and then this is the other change that I made, because you can see this line down here. So we're going to take that off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to score this piece. Okay. There we go. And then I'm going to take this down about 1.5 inches from the top. So right about there. And I'll just add a little score here so I can see. There it is. Okay, and then we're just going to score this piece. All right. So now you have your inside piece. So what we're going to do, let me grab my sample. Okay, so I'm going to score this and fold it on the score. Okay, I'm going to go back in and erase those little marks there. You're not going to see them, but you know. All right, so then I'm going to take my little sentiment here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of tape here to the back of it. And when you're going to put your sentiment on, you just want to make sure that you have enough room. See here? You have enough to where you don't put your sentiment way down here and then you won't be able to see it once you pull it up, right? So what I did to make it easier for me to remember where to put it is I just put it really close to the second score line here. And that way I knew, okay, well, I know it's going to be seen there. So I'm just going to just put it down maybe 1/4 inch below that. And you don't want to add anything really bulky on this, you know, and you don't want to use a heavy cardstock for your sentiment, only because this can get caught on your card when you're pulling it, you know, in and out. So you want to try to keep this as smooth as you can. Okay, so now put it all together. Oops. All right. So this is the other piece that I'm using, and this one needs to be scored right there on the top here. There we go. And just measure it. It'd be easier, I'm sure. All right, so I've got my starting piece there. All right, this is about 1/2 inch, I want to say. 3/4. Okay, so 3/4 inch from the top. So there's your 3/4. Okay. And then this is going to be on the back, so nobody's going to see it. Well, we're going to erase it anyways, because it will be seen from the back side. Okay, but for now, because I don't want to score on my front here. So for now, what I'm going to do is I am just going to score that real quick, and then I'll go back and erase it. Okay, and then just score that. And it's easier to add, you know, or to score if you're doing it on the back, because this paper's dark, so it's kind of hard to see. Okay, so That's where you want it. And then I am going to take this off because you will see the back. Okay. And then what I would also do is go around and erase any pencil lines when you lay the pattern out, if you've got pencil lines, because again, this is the back piece, so it will show. All right. And you have such a beautiful card that you want to make. You don't want it to, you don't want the back to look ugly. Okay. So the way that I did this, that I found it was easiest to do, is I put my two pieces, my bottom piece here, and then my folding piece or my insert. Okay. I'm going to put that right there on top. So I'm going to add some tape. And I really think that we're not going to have to worry about using that extra layer of paper. I think this is going to work fine. And it'll be better also too, because, you get those cracks. The heavier your paper is, you get the more cracks when you're trying to fold it. So that's always a pain too. All right, so we're going to put that right there on top. Make sure that it's fairly centered. Yep. Okay. There we go. And then you just want to fold that so you know it's going to go really, really well. Okay, and then this piece, you're going to fold it this way. Okay, you see where this is going, guys? All right, and then you're going to take your front, your card. Now, I did it this way. You can do it whatever makes it easiest for you, but I did my front bottom piece last. I just thought, for me, it just seemed like it would be easier to do, but it's totally up to you. Okay, so you're going to take this and make sure that everything is on there nice and straight as best you can, right? Okay, and then we're going to add some more tape. All right, so I'm going to turn this around this way because it's easier for me to see. Okay, so I'm going to lay this down right there. There we go. Okay. So now you've got your top. See that? Now to give it to pull, because you want the message to pull up, then what you're going to do is you're going to take some more adhesive and we're going to put it right there. And that's going to give you your pull up. Okay, so we've got our tape there and tape that baby down. And there you go. Okay, perfect. Love it when it works. Okay, so lastly, then what you're going to do just to put it all together. Now, this is the tricky piece. I have tried this a couple different ways. I tried it with double-sided tape, not this double-sided tape because it's a little too thick, but I used a thinner double-sided tape and ran it around to adhere this on. And then it just didn't seem like it was holding well enough for me. It just didn't feel like it was holding good. So then I went and did it again, but this time I ran a glue gun. But the tricky part about running a glue gun is because you've got this piece here, you want to make sure that you are right on the edge of your card. And you really don't need to worry about your bottom piece down here, about closing that. That is not going to make a difference. If that's going to bother you, then what I would suggest, because you can see that this goes pretty close to the bottom piece, So if you need to and you want it, want to glue that bottom part down also, then just go ahead and just cut this maybe 1/4 of an inch higher. And then that way that'll give you that little extra leeway down here that you're going to need. Now, wondering now, because I did mine with heavier stuff, because it, like I said, I did it with the toner paper and then I added a heavy chipboard to it. So it's pretty thick. So I'm wondering if maybe we can just use, some double-sided tape. So we're going to try it. But just to let you know, if it doesn't work or if it starts to pull or whatever, don't worry about it. Just lift, take it off and then just go ahead and glue it down if you feel that, if it's not going to work for you. Okay. All right. So before we do that, we do want to add our ribbon. Okay. So we're going to run our ribbon over here. And I found that putting this on with my glue gun made it a lot simpler. So, oops. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to run a little bit of glue right here. There we go. And that's going to be for that part of the ribbon. Okay. And then again, we're going to flip it over to this side and glue it over here. Oh, my hair's getting in my face. Okay. Hang on a sec. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. So I'm telling you all of the little tips and tricks that I learned putting this together when I, decided to create it. Because I have done this once before. I just couldn't remember if I did it on a live, and I don't think I did, but I have made this card before. So, I kind of already knew what I was doing. Okay, so we've got our ribbon on there, right? All right, so now we're ready to put this piece on. And I think we've got enough room that we're going to be okay. The other thing is that sometimes when you're foiling stuff, the double-sided tape doesn't always adhere very well. So that's your other, issue. And, when you're doing a pull-up or any type of interactive, you want to make sure that, your element is going to work correctly. So we're going to try this just to see. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. And I'm just going to run this down around here. Okay. I'm going to trim that other little piece off there. All right. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. All right. There we go. Okay. All right. Now we're going to peel this off. Okay, I really want to make sure that this is adhered on here really well. That is another reason why I used hot glue, guys, for the ribbon, because that will let the tape adhere better if the ribbon is down securely. All right, so we're going to just do that and make sure that that is down there nice and good. I see a little tape piece right there. Okay, so now we're going to say a little prayer and hope that this will work. Okay, so I'm going to lay this down just like that. And then what I like to do with this, get my papers all straightened out here. Look like I'm a mess. My goodness. All right. So what I like to do for this card is start at the bottom, especially because if I'm not putting any adhesive down there. So I like to start at the bottom and make sure that I just round that up to where it's right where it's supposed to be. And then we're just going to push it down. Okay. So let's see if we're going to, whoops, we're going to pull this up. And let's see if we're going to slide well. There we go. Okay. So I think we're good. I think this is lighter, and I don't think that you need to use the glue gun on this. I think the tape will work. But if you do notice that it's starting to pull, then what you can do, this is a little trick that I do, is you can take, like a palette knife or something like that, not anything sharp because you don't want to stab yourself, but just kind of open it just a tad. And then if it feels like it's not sticking well, then add a little glue right in there. Just put it in there and then just do a couple little spots. But I don't think that you're going to need it because I'm like so surprised. I love that. All right. So now to finish it all off, I'm not going to finish it. I'm just going to show you what I did. So I took my other sentiment, which there it is. Okay. And then I took that and I added this down here at the bottom. And I did do this with the glue gun because I wanted it to really hold on. So I started with the one side first. And I just want that little area right there, just that end there. And then I'm going to pop this up just a tad because you want to make sure that, it's still going to be able to, go through the mail and all of that. So once I figure out where I want it, then just going to add a little bit more glue on the back here. Okay, and I'm going to puff it up just a smidge, just to see. There we go. Okay. And then the other thing that you're going to do is you're just going to finish decorating the top part. Now, what I did was I took some really pretty trim that I had. And with my glue gun, I went all the way around my piece. Now, I would suggest, obviously, that you do this before you put before you put it all together, but you can do it this way also. But it might be a little bit easier to do if you're just dealing with just the lid, right? So I just glued this all the way around, give that little, that top piece just a little bit more shimmer. And then I added a little piece of little doily piece. This is in memory of my mama because this is some of her stuff. So I added this piece down. And what I did with this was I just took my tape runner and just ran it over the back of it and then glued it down where I wanted it. And then last, I took my flower, put it in the center there. And then here, I just added my 3 little roses and a couple of leaves, and I adhered all of this down with my glue gun. And then you have this really adorable purse, or not purse, hat box. Just that it's just so much fun. I love interactive cards. I get so excited over interactive cards.
But it is so cute.
Oh, thank you. I am really, really happy that I didn't have to use that heavy, the heavy cardstock and stuff, because this works just perfect. So there you go. But you can do it either way. All right. So talk amongst yourselves for just a second.
Okay. Everybody welcomes you back.
Thank you, guys.
Everybody's happy to see you back. Isabel said, I love the reveal when you double foil. Yes. It's just
right?
So cool. Lenine said, I have to watch the replay and see where you got the pattern. I'm loving the card. Lisa does a blog post on Sundays, and
Yep.
she'll have the link for the pattern in there because we'll host it on our website.
Whoops.
And Karen said, I love these colors and the card idea. Everybody loved it. I mean, it's such a beautiful, beautiful card, Lise.
Thank you. Well, I I do a lot of cute because I like cute. Cute makes me smile. You know,
Cute is you.
cute is me, definitely. It just makes me, it makes me happy, you know? It's just my thing. But every once in a while, I like to do beautiful too. I like to do pretty, like the
That
blue
is
card that I did
stunning.
with the
Yeah.
foils, you know? And that was a pullout one. And yeah, they're just, and these are just, this is just so much fun to make. So you're not going to find this on Pinterest, guys. So, because this is mine. So you have to wait until I get the pattern tweaked
And
right. And then
someday, when
so,
Lisa is feeling well for months at a time,
yeah.
she'll work on that interactive ebook I want her to make,
You,
or I
that
want
is,
to put together for her.
that is so crazy that you said that, because I thought that I had done this card once before because I found the pattern for it. So I was like, okay, well, I've got the pattern. So I have bins, you know,
I know.
the cloth bins. I now have 3 on the very top of my shelf over here full. And I had pulled them all down this weekend to pull out to try to find the card and figure out where it was and all of that. And Rich comes in my studio and he's like, "What are you doing?" Because I had cards everywhere. And I was like, well, you know, one of these days I'm going to do an ebook on all of this stuff.
I've only been asking for 4 years.
She
So
has.
Rebecca
She
said
has.
she would love an interactive card ebook. And so
I
would
know, right?
Lenine. And I mean, that is who Lisa is. Lisa loves cards that move, shake, open, do all the interactive stuff.
Yep,
And so I brought this to her years ago.
she did.
But you know, we have to be patient. But we will get it. And she has got so many.
Oh my gosh.
I do believe it can be volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, you know. And
There
Lisa has been making interactive cards since before I knew her. So
Yeah.
more than 20 years. So she has got
I have
tons of ideas, tons of patterns.
tons.
She has created so many, and
Yeah. It just, yeah, I really, you know, and I've never been able to find an interactive book online anywhere that, you know, makes it simple. You know, I mean, I've seen them, but, you know, most of them that I have checked out are more mechanical.
Yeah.
You know, and there's like a lot of, you know, you got to do this and you got to do that. And I'm thinking, yeah, no, that is not, it takes me long enough as it is. You know, I don't want to make it any longer.
We
So,
want all the
you know,
pieces to go together and move, but not.
yeah, I just don't do it the way that normal people do, I guess. I don't know. But,
yeah.
you know, that's what I was planning to do when we had our Christmas break last year.
I know.
And then I wanted to redo my studio first.
Her studio needed to be done first. I believe it.
It really did, because I couldn't find anything. It was a mess. It was horrible. So, yeah.
You have a buyer here when it comes out. Even Anne's book. Anne, well, I do have a book done, but it was, I have a few. Mine aren't online yet. Mine are special for some events I did.
Yep.
They were for that, but I do. But Lisa's book, yeah, I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, I might really try to get it, because I do have it started. I do. I mean, I have pulled out, I've made notes, you know, so it's not that I have forgotten or I don't want to do it. I do want to do it, but it's going to take a huge chunk of time. And, you know, I can't do that and then be doing this and, you know, just not enough time in the day.
No.
Especially when I am not like you and I can't get by on 4 hours of sleep or 2.
It's okay. Most people shouldn't be. It's not good for their health. It definitely wouldn't be good for your health.
Oh, no. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Isabel's asking me what?
You need your own line of interactive dies.
Oh, Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, but then I would have to do it all again, technical, and make sure that all of the corners are right and everything. Yeah.
Christine said, I just started following and sprinkled. Thank you.
Oh,
I want to remind everybody,
you,
like,
Christine.
comment, share this video and my video this afternoon, and
Yep.
you'll be entered for this week's giveaway. This week's giveaway is going to be a sampler pack of some of my toner sheets and my
Yes.
black toner paper, which is, I would say, because I know I tried a couple. I know a couple other companies have some, but mine,
It's the best.
quality is so good.
The
I work
quality
with
is
a really good
amazing.
company, and I'm amazed. But
Yeah, we have tried different ones, and yeah, nope.
yeah. Karen says, amazing toner paper you have.
Oh yeah,
Thank you.
Karen has played with your toner paper more than
She
once.
has. And I will announce the winner from last week. And they are also getting a sampler pack
Okay.
because I used foils last week in my live.
All right. Okay. So that's it for me for today. I'm going to be heading out the door. So, yay.
Thank you all for being here.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be. I'm sorry. I'm so glad to be back, you guys. I really am.
We're happy to have you back.
I'm hoping that I'm hoping this is the no more. I don't want to be cut on anymore. I'm done. Ugh.
But this was important because you need your hands.
I need my hands.
You know, I mean, so
yeah.
This way you'll be able to craft for a long time.
Yeah, because once they get healed in that nerve damage, I try to get that regenerated if I can. Then but I'm not dropping everything. So for me, that's a score right there. Especially when you're dropping your phone, those expensive phones. Ay. All right, you guys. So we will see you next week. Don't forget, Anne's going to be on in just about an hour with hers. So until then, do what we always tell you to do every single week, and that is to take a little time to craft.
Because it's good for your soul.
I am a walking testament to that. All right, you guys. We'll see you later.